Hi guys, it's been a while since I've posted. I decided to make a video about journaling since I'm a very tactile person, and in spite of myself, I always find myself creating things whether or not I want to. I believe my primary art form though is writing, but I feel like throughout my life I've always had an affinity for drawing, painting, things of that nature. And I also feel, so I'm going to work chronologically from oldest to the most recent. So these are the ones that I've almost completed. This one's the most recent. And this one I actually got when I think I was 13, 14 in middle school. And I had a big emotional day today, so I feel like my life is an archive, and I really do believe that is a value of mine, and I am happy that I have held on to all of the journals that I've filled in the past. And my journals tell a story, and even when I touch the pages, I can feel the emotional weight of what I felt at the time, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So here is my first journal. There's no words in it. I just think this is so pretty. It's a leather journal. I remember my mom getting this for me at an art festival, and it's kind of like a junk journal of sorts. I'm like 14 years old when I first got this. I think 13, 14. Some of it is super cringe, obviously. I think this left page is really cool. I like how it's kind of like esoteric with these like random symbols along the border. And then there's a forest. It's kind of learning how to draw. Some emo shit that is so cringe. Hold on. And back at the end, I would follow like junk journal tutorials, and I would try my best to like emulate what the person was doing like on YouTube. And these are little teacups that I like cut out and stacked on top of each other. This was supposed to be, I guess, like a library source. As you can see, the year is there, but I didn't write anything along the spine. I think I'm going to go back and revisit this and put something on the spine, because I still love reading. This is my favorite page, actually, in the whole thing. As you can see, there's like a little queen here and a little umbrella. This page on the right is by far my favorite. I just think the textures and the layering is so cool. And the fact that I use like a little card here, I just think it's so good. I tried, to this day I have perfectionistic tendencies, and I guess in middle school, early high school, that still carried through. This is a little van, a quote by Walt Disney, which is crazy. I think Walt Disney's low-key creepy now, but as you can see, I really cared and I really tried back then. I think I must have made this early high school, because I view this as like an abstract self-portrait, and it's crazy looking back at it now, because you can see there's like a little hole in the chest, and there's like a heart hanging out of it, a mask, a coffin with a question mark inside of it, and then like little flame, I guess passion, and then just this and question marks. You can see that like I was very troubled late middle school, perhaps early high school. I do feel like this is probably how I felt in early high school or going into it, where I was like, I can't really be myself. I have to mask in front of other people. Perhaps suicidal tendencies, I don't know. But I still had, I feel like, passion, and I feel like I had to like mask that in a weird way. And then this is kind of cool. I like the textures and the technique that I used in this, like outlining the little newspaper clippings of hearts. I used a Rubik's Cube at the time to make the little square shapes you see, and I just think it's really satisfying. I was trying to practice calligraphy as well, and then I think it's cool that the flowers are still intact after all these years. This I made recently with a gold pen and watercolor. I think it is really satisfying. I used sticky notes to create like clean lines for the borders, and I think that was fun. Nothing. This is my first try at that. But as you can see, the borders are more rustic, if you will. And then this is just straight up mental illness. And you can tell there's like a little eye in the center. I actually made this last night when I had insomnia and I couldn't sleep. There's like a little eye in the center, the eye of the storm, if you will. And I was like, I remember last night, it was like at 4 a.m. and I was drawing a spiral with charcoal, and then in the very center, I was like, that kind of looks like an eye. If I just put certain lines and definition in certain ways, I can totally make it look like an eye. And it did. I feel like it kind of looks like an eye. And yeah, rose petals from God Awful Days. I like this a lot. It feels very like Dr. Seuss abstract. This is actually my sister's handwriting on the right. Hello, darling. She wrote that. I think it's so cute. Because she would grab my different journals and stuff as a kid and kind of add her own doodles and stuff like that. This is recent. Don't like this all that much, especially the left side. I put like a card in here. And this is a drawing of a woman that I very much like. And then on the inside, another drawing of a woman, like a little silhouette. This I like the most. I don't really care. There's a gratitude list in here that I won't grab, but these are supposed to be orchids. This page is mad. There's wrapping paper, tissue paper as the base. The compositionally, I think it's kind of meh. And yeah, sister drawing on the left. And this is something I made recently on the right. I like it a lot. It might not be others' favorites, but I like it. I want to make more abstract stuff, and I feel like the clean borders allows me to be more experimental with the mediums I use, because I feel like I'm a little conservative and trepidatious when it comes to trying out new materials. Like this is a mix of oil pastel, different pens, watercolor, so on and so forth. Another sister drawing. Let me see. This is kind of cool. I made this in middle school. This is from Soul Eater, the Soul Eater moon, and this is a quote that I guess I liked. And honestly, I still like it. I think it's really cool. I don't know where it's from, though. And then this is supposed to be me. And then this is recently, lol, kind of self-evident what this is about. This is me to report the violation of a restraining order. Fucking funny. This is cute. Do y'all remember those Wreck-It journals? Well, this actually comes from a Wreck-It journal that I never finished, but I had this very detailed honeycomb in Prismacolor, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna cut that out, put it in here. And then this was from, I guess, a tattoo shop or something like that. I found it somewhere. And this is from like a magazine. And there's a little bee. Woo! I actually like this page so much. I love like recorporating art from other places. Because I have a tendency to be kind of like lacking and deficient in like compositionally speaking. Because I invest so much energy in trying to make things like technically and detailed like good. And this is kind of nice with a junk journal, because it kind of gives you the freedom to like not have to worry about that. This is my sister's drawing. I think it's pretty funny. And then sister drawings, sister writing. This is pastel. It's like kind of summery. It's like I think it's kind of like Georgia O'Keeffe. It's very, looks like a vagina. And that was like a happy accident. And yeah. And I think I got just more that I need to do left. And then, yeah, I'm going to eventually complete this. I'm in my mid-20s and I haven't yet completed it. But that is life for you. And now I'm going to work backwards once again. So this is the first journal I ever got. Most of this is writing, not actual artsy type stuff. There is some artsy stuff in here. This is mostly, I'm starting to realize that guilt, that word, is a huge theme in my life. And I think it comes from my religious upbringing. I'm trying to see where to start. This is fucking crazy. No words. Let me see how I... Honestly, I think this is pretty good. Technically speaking, you can see there's a hand holding a duck. The duck is cussing me out, or the goose. This is a distorted makeout picture. This is my sister's little princess. This is my dad. He's a little German dude. And then there's a girl with a pill. This is honestly, I think I remember doodling this at work because I was bored. Really like the duckling. This is so funny. Oh my god. This is 2012. Oh my gosh. This stuff actually does make me laugh though. I need to be careful as to what I include because I don't want y'all to see my personal stuff. Polaroids. More Polaroids. This is a girl on Instagram, and this was like a free sticker cutout that she was giving out, and I was like, this is cute. I think her name's Petite Gloom. This is a dream board. I really like the heart, obviously. It's supposed to represent human connection. I wanted to get my LCSW at the time, but that was not actually what I wanted to do deep down. So it's basically a dream board for things that weren't actually my dream. But so that ended up never happening. This also ended up never happening, the half marathon. I'm not a huge runner, but this happened on and off. Not really. But I just love this so much. This was with Prismacolor. I love it when I actually try sometimes to like make good art. This is fucking cunt to me. Sorry, didn't mean to cuss. But yeah, most of this unfortunately contains a lot of religious trauma and guilt and just straight up craziness. Oh, that's my sister. That's really cute. And this is in the Bywater in New Orleans. Our cat, a hydrangea. I really hope y'all don't read all this crazy shit. So that's the first journal I ever got. So as you can see, I got in 2012. I didn't finish it till the end of high school because I would only journal, I guess, when I was in a state of crisis or deep reflection. And so it was very on and off and sporadic, my use of this journal, even though I think it's very good. I used to have a very pretty bookmark, but I don't know where it went. And so this is my second journal that a friend got me. She's no longer in my life though. I think it's so funny that the pastel or the light pink journal with the gold trim is actually the most traumatic and sparse one, also the most austere. There's really nothing artistic about this. It's really just to-do lists every night for my survival and just like planning the next day. And there's not a whole lot of emotional reflection. There is every now and then, but not really. This is actually, this I love a lot because this journal was when I was living in Portland. And I remember I found a love letter that I think was left behind by someone who was houseless. And on one side, it's like a declaration of love that's very passionate. And then the other side is just like heartbreak and uselessness. And I held on to it because I was very isolated during my time in Portland. And I think it's very beautiful how the human heart always does what it does, no matter what conditions it finds itself in. And I just think it's really beautiful. And then just, I hope y'all, for the love of God, don't read none of this. And fruit stickers. Really, as you can see, like, super uninspired, very straightforward. And yeah, collection is, yeah. I shouldn't have lived in Portland at all, but you know, you live and you learn. And that's that. And then this is my most recent one, which I actually included in a former YouTube video, where I actually got it at Powell's bookstore in Portland. And so it starts, I believe, in 2024, 2025. And you can actually see from the outside when I started junk journaling, the second half, as you can see, is a lot thicker than the first half. But actually, because of a bad situation I was in, this was left untouched, like at my bedside table, and had so many things spilled on it and all these awful things, and it was pretty much untouched for like 6 months. And then I finally decided to start using it again, and then I got into junk journaling, and I feel like now there's no going back. Like, I don't feel like it's an exaggeration or a hyperbole to say that I feel like journaling has genuinely saved my life. And I don't know, if you're like an artistic or creative person, it will always come back to you. I remember a middle school art teacher telling me that, and it is true. If you have a calling or an impulse of some kind, always come back to you. I remember my internship in Portland. At the end, there was like a performance review, so to speak, and she's like, and in her review, she's like, Maddie is actually very creative, but she refuses to admit to this. And I'm like, honestly, that is very true. Social work was not for me at all. And yeah, I don't know. But so I guess we can go through this. So you can see, I really love the Sarasa vintage pins. I like this page a lot. I think it's really cool. Just basic stuff for the most part. And then a lot of creative ideas in here. A lot of stuff for like creative writing. And then this was my trip to San Diego for my sister's high school graduation. As you know, San Diego has a very famous zoo, so this is a map of the zoo as a background. However, I didn't have a glue stick at the time. I just had normal liquid glue, so the texture isn't all that great, but this is where we stayed. And our little key card, which is nice because it has a layout, so I can like remember everything and like where I was, which is really cool. And then I have a koala, and then I have my boarding pass and a little monkey sticker. And there's a lot. I saw so many hibiscus flowers there. This is, I guess, hibiscus, a hibiscus flower from the trip that I saved. And this is me doodling on the back of the boarding pass. And I just think it's great for like remembering stuff. And I just think it's so cutie, so fun, so easy. I think the most important thing to remember with junk journaling is that you can use absolutely fucking anything. I was on a walk today. I saw like a flattened, crushed like beer can, and I thought about it. I'm telling y'all, just like be so free and loose with it. That's the point. If you're someone who has perfectionistic tendencies, you're supposed to use anything and everything and not to think twice. You're just slapping things onto the page. Don't even think about beauty or composition or color. I guess, you know, you can kind of have some structure for it, but ultimately the point is to like not care. And so it's not supposed to be technically good at all. This is fucking horrible, for example. Excuse my language. But as you can see, I didn't have a glue stick. I just had like, this is all magazine. It would have looked really good had I had a normal glue stick to do these things, and like an X-Acto knife perhaps, but like this spread is horrible because you can see all the creasing. Bleh. But you have to start somewhere. And then I'll try to find this page I really like. So on the left, it actually comes from a journal that my mom used in the 80s, all about love. Well, that's the theme of it, and there's like illustrations with quotes. And I took a page from that it's because she didn't finish it. She only wrote in probably like a few pages. Then my sister doodled on a lot of the pages. And this is from like a devotional or something that I never used in high school. Someone gave to me, and I honestly like this spread or style of spread so much. And then we got another example of that style of spread, and there's like tea and stuff like that. A crane. It's just like these pages feel very Louisiana to me, and it's nice that I'm using material that my mom in the 80s, 70s, 90s would have used, and that continuation, like intergenerational, is very meaningful to me. And then this page I had high hopes for, and then shit hit the fan. As you can see, there's a tear here, but and this is just chaotic, but I think it's overall very pretty, and I had this saved for a long time, so I'm glad I finally got to use this cutout. I like the blue and the orange because those are complementary colors. As you can see, fucking crazy creasing because I wasn't using like normal stick glue at the time. And so I actually did this recently and I like it a lot. My dad is half German, so he's really passionate about his beers. If you know anything about German beer, this is actually a Belgian beer, but it's really good, and I like the texture of the blonde wrapping, the gold foil. And at first it was just this page and it was very like bled, and I was like, oh, I want to complete it and do the other side. And so now I feel like it's more cohesive, the whole spread. I like it a lot. This spread is one of my favorites because of the pelicans, because I'm from Louisiana, and it just reminds me of home. Like everything about this spread just reminds me of like home. And then you got the stamps, and this is from a cutout from a magazine, and you can see there's sugar cane in the centerpiece that almost touches the ceiling. And I just think this is me. You know what I'm saying? I still hope y'all don't read none of this, but so this is from a wine bottle that I was able to rip off somewhat successfully. And then I like this from a magazine because I feel like the blue of this matches the girl's blue hair, and I feel like it's very dynamic because you can see movement in this is very prevalent. And then like the fire and the movement of this, like it feels like a very dynamic page. And then this is a gold tape, so to speak, washi tape, and then lace, and then another cutout. And I was like, honestly, this is not my normal style. It kind of feels like emo to me, but in like a fun way, and I just like the movement in it. And then this I think is very pretty. This is from Kombucha, and I feel like the colors really go well together, and there's like a floral theme. I like the lotus flower. I think there's like a mindfulness theme here. And I just think it's very pretty and just pleasing to the eye, this page. I honestly felt like this lotus with the shadows in the background, it was just too beautiful. It had to stand by itself. The one water lily in the pond with the shadows in the background, it's like, honestly, she deserves her own page. We have a lot of magazines in our home, so it's great for junk journaling. This is actually really cool because I visited New Orleans recently, and there was like this little bookstore where they're trying to get rid of books, so every book was like 25 cents, and I was like, this is awesome. So this is great for junk journaling. And there was like a 1933 book that was kind of like telling you things that were going on during that time. And this was an ad from 1933. And I was like, that's really cool. Oh, my hand's shaking. No. And I was like, it's obviously about, it's like honestly the origin of like the beauty industry. And then the left side, it decided to include like modern things. This is like a nail kit. This is like a eye bag, eraser, whatever the fuck that means, lipstick. And I was like, honestly, and then I have so many like background colorful pages that are great for this. And so even though I honestly felt in this case like simpler is better, because I wanted to show off these figures in the background to go with her. I was like, this is honestly really cool. And then I recently went to the Watermelon Festival in my parish, which is super close to me, and it was my first time going, and it was kind of under advertised, so not a whole lot of people showed up. But this is from the Era Leader, like our little newspaper, and they're celebrating like freedom of religion. It's kind of funny. They list all the churches in the area, but hypothetically, if they were to have like a mosque, they wouldn't list it. So I was like, this is kind of fun. And this is also from the 1933 thing that I got. And I like finished this tonight in the watermelon sticker. And so, like, kind of like an upside down watermelon cross, whatever the hell is going on here. And so, yeah, our area is known for really good watermelons. This is not complete, but as you can see, I'm going for an orangey, reddish, warm color theme. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, it's almost done. And yeah, I'm really excited to do more. Also, I have another journal I actually want to show y'all that is more for more practical planning purposes. Woo, y'all just saw that. But this journal was actually given to me for free by a college I applied to called St. John's College, I believe, in New Mexico. And they actually are known for producing the most amount of professors or people with PhDs. And so this I started using during COVID, which is really funny. And so that's why this page is like this. And they have like a little curriculum that's very like liberal arts, like Western classics themed. Like, for example, you would have to read the Iliad as like a required text. But I was like, honestly, I read so much, I could just use this as a book log. Like, for example, I just finished The Passion According to G.H. recently, and so I can kind of write my thoughts, write basic information about it, and then print it here. So it's like a fun way of like documenting what I've read. And then this is kind of my planner. So this is when I used it forever ago. So this is a workout log when I was trying to do fucking, I don't know, 75 hard for some reason way long ago. And this is a weekly log planner. But as you can see, I was really trying hard for something that ultimately was not for me. Like, I was trying hard to pretty much get student loan debt. Trying hard for pretty much nothing. I hate to say it like that. I did learn some things, but you know what I'm saying. And then this is Grease, woo. And then this is my recent weekly planner for last week and a habit tracker. I thought it was really cool and fun. And then this is my most recent thing. And I'm just excited to fill this out. I just think it's so fun. And I like the grid paper for this. But, yeah. So, these are all the journals. I'm probably going to have to get a new one once I finish the one that right here. But, yeah, thanks for watching.